Yeah. hmm I'm really not violent.
Yes.
hmm but I do realize that this is probably the last video.
Yeah.
Just so you know, there were some very violent individuals that were in Nazi Germany that did a lot of experimentation with electricity.
Yeah.
I didn't electrocute you, you electrocuted me.
Ouch.
And they did a lot of experimentation with the DNA of other beings
Yes.
that might have existed any time during the history of the world.
Right now.
Now, for all of you that say that I'm being violent for wanting to kill,
Yes.
as in remove, make garbage of your look-alike relatives and employees of the government,
Yeah.
this didn't just happen yesterday. It took 50, 60 years of experimentation to make that work. Now, in Germany,
Yes.
they should have learned their lessons about working with dogs.
Yes.
hmm They look like people, but they don't think like people. They're continuously worried about coming to find out
Yes.
they are the cheapest piece of crap that you ever have to talk to.
Yes.
And they think it's funny terrorizing honest American citizens. See, normal Americans, they don't take people's phones and try to jump the battery.
Right.
They don't use their phones while they're sleeping. In fact, normal Americans don't enter the room of an individual that rents a room
Yes.
so that you can get his phone so that you can play with it. So, if you think that I'm the one that's violent,
Yes.
I want to just talk to you about some of the sureties that you're liable for
Yes.
for being an officer.
Yes.
See, the courts which held that the sureties are liable for the act of the officer,
Yeah.
if done color officii, are not uniform as to the liability of the surety if the officer acts under a void writ.
Yes.
Now, a writ is known as a court order, similar to a dissolution of marriage,
Yes.
similar to a protection order, too. Now, let's say you were to void your writs
Yes.
that you issued in 2011 without any jurisdiction of law. You were to void your dissolution of marriage
Yes.
because I didn't get any notice of court hearings. I'm still married and need to have a divorce from the United Nations.
Yes.
And then you intentionally covered up all your fraud. Now, these voided writs,
Yes.
see, there is not uniform as to the liability of the surety
Yes.
of the Superior Court, Judge Brent Payston, Judge Rohr, Judge Porter,
Yes.
Judge Kogenhauer, because I've been emailing you, Judge Melly, Judge Newport.
Right down.
See, there could be a greater amount of liability. A lot of attorneys,
Yes.
they would look at it as the courts which hold that the sureties are liable for the act of the officer, if done in the office of the color, are not uniform as to the liability of the surety if the officer acts under a void writ. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Now, the proper criterion is stated to be that when the act of the officer is done not virtue of office, but color, the bondsmen are liable only when the illegality is an abuse of authority, as distinguished from usurpation.
Yes.
State versus Diker. The decision in the case was the sureties were not liable for the reason that the arrest complained of what was color official, although the officer thought he was acting officially. The arrest having been made without a warrant for a misdemeanor not committed in his view, and his bond having been conditioned merely for the faithful performance of his duty. Now, how this affects Germany is,
Yes.
I'm going to go through the reconstruction agreements of the United States Treasury, and then I'm going to take control of your Navy,
Yes.
and possibly guarantee all the mortgages of the nation of Germany. See, when you have a war with another nation, even though it happened 50, 60 years ago,
Right now.
there is certain obligations to divulge if any of the individuals that participated in that war,
Yes.
or direct descendants of them, happen to be a mutated look-alike of any American citizen right now. Now, for all the Germans that thought I was being tough on their Navy,